So now that we have gone through the process, we are now registered as a supplier. We can participate as a supplier. What are some of the key steps in the process that every supplier really needs to familiarize themselves with?
Oh, I'm happy to ask that question. The first thing we need to remember as a supplier is that what we're trying to do is to make an offer to government for a contract. What the government is putting out is an invitation to treat. It's saying, we want you to offer to us and make the best possible offer. Now, the only way you can make a good offer is if you go through those solicitation documents and you understand the government's requirements. So you have to read what the government has asked for, and you have to read the contract document as well. If you can't read it and understand it, get a lawyer. Lawyers can help you to understand and navigate the perilous contractual grounds that you'll be getting into, but you have to make a good offer. You have to make a good offer. And that comes with reading and with truly assimilating and understanding what the government is asking for. Now, the government might be asking you for a simple quote, or the government might be asking you for a bid because it has already decided how it will do the work, or the government might ask you for a proposal because the government itself don't know what to do. It said to you, we know you have the expertise, propose to us how to get this thing fixed. You need to understand the differences between those, and therefore submit an offer that would demonstrate whether, it's in the case of a proposal that you have a good track record and that you are suitably qualified in terms of academic and experiential qualifications to help the government navigate this particular difficulty. That's the first thing. Read the documents. You can't get around reading them.
Read the document.
Read the document.
Listeners, viewers, you hear it from the Chief Procurement Officer in Jamaica. The first thing you must do, read the document. So that simply means you're saying then, if you're not able to read and write, you need to get somebody to do it for you.
Absolutely.
Excellent. So you don't have to do it yourself. You can get somebody to do it. But then, next thing now, what are some of the pitfalls that you have seen suppliers make over the years that, as a supplier, we should seek to avoid some of those?
You know what the first one is doing? Not reading the document.
The fundamental.
No, absolutely.
Let them say if you want a black man miss something, put it in writing.
Put it in writing.
But I guess it's not just black man alone. I guess it's
human
global.
beings. Yeah.
People tend to not read sufficiently and understand.
And all right, let's control for the bad procuring entities, bad entities that write rubbish and confuse the bidders.
Because that happens.
It happens. I used to write rubbish in my initial operating days, and I'm sorry to all the suppliers out there. Please accept my humble apology for all the nonsense I wrote. But it does happen. So, let's control for those. Take those out. The vast majority of documents are pretty good. They're clear cut, and they will tell you, submit this thing, that thing, that thing, that thing, and that thing, and sign yourself. And the supplier submit anything you want.
So you're saying if the document says submit one bottle, submit a jacket, submit anything, and I submit those things, I should have a very good opportunity to be successful.
The first hurdle is to check in terms of compliance of the bidding. So the procuring entity has listed out its requirements. So the first thing the officer does is say, all right, these are the 10 things we asked for. You look in the bid and you find the 10 things. If you don't find the 10 things, you're probably up a creek without a paddle. Your bid not going to get considered.
Wow.
Yeah. So you have to, having read the document, you have to submit the things that the government has asked for. That's a very major pitfall. Another pitfall is the idea that somehow how do I put this delicately? Okay, we're in sophisticated commercial negotiations with parties that in some instances are equally matched in terms of power and strength. I mean, government and supplier, depending on the size of the supplier. But there is this idea that government's supposed to take anything a supplier say. And that's
Because
somehow,
suppliers are the expert. That's what.
but there are also experts on the government side that are analyzing the things that you're writing.
Mm.
And so I'm speaking about the quality of the information that providing in the bid. Yes, it's good enough that you've made the correct submittals, but the quality of the information needs to match what is asked for. That's a huge pitfall. I mean, we are not in the business of buying rubbish.
So you're saying then so what if you ask for something, let's say buying a piece of equipment, and as a supplier your supplier realize that what you're asking for is sunset technology, it going out of style, it in another year or so the industry is moving away from this. You're saying still provide you with that sunset technology that you asked for, and not tell you that there is something better that you're not considering.
No, I think there's a space to bring it to the entity's attention. That's not the sort of the class of case I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about a case where the government has determined or has set its specifications. The specifications are perfectly okay, and the supplier insists that it will offer something else rather than what the government has determined that it wants. Now, the government has set those specifications for a reason. There might be the opportunity during discussions in the bidding stage to indicate that maybe the specifications are problematic.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen cases where, yes, the specifications were problematic, and cases where the specifications were quite okay.
Mm-hmm.
But what happened was that a supplier decided that he was, or it was, or she was going to submit or supply whatever it or she wanted to. That's the thing I'm talking about. Now, in terms of the opportunity to raise a red flag and say, hey, this don't make no sense that you're buying, I think a good supplier will distinguish himself. And maybe that's a pitfall to be avoided. It's not trying to distinguish yourself by truly showing and demonstrating responsibility to the government. So when you read something like that and you realize that this thing is going out of style and that supporting or maintaining it over the next X period is going to be problematic, it's responsible to raise it during the clarification period.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And to say, government, this don't make no sense. Let's do it a better way.
I remember the days when we used to carry our bids and drop it in a box somewhere. And we know that the bid reach inside that box. And we sit down for a couple minutes and we wait, and we then know all the persons who bid. And we can write it down, and we know say you can't go squeeze in nobody else after that. But then now there's this electronic procurement system. How does that benefit suppliers really?
I think the chief benefit is, benefits are security and accessibility. Let's talk about security. Why did you wait until the last minute to go drop that bid in the box?
Because you don't want nobody go pull the box and go read your bid and go tell them friend.
Exactly. Well, with GoJet, once you upload the bid, it's encrypted. Not even the people that make the system can decrypt it. It only becomes capable of decryption. I think it's the right word, or is it de-encryption? I don't even know. Right? When on the day of opening. That's the only time you can see what's been uploaded in that bid.
So if I submit it 10 days before it closes, you're saying it can't open. Nobody can open it until that designated time comes for it to be open.
Yeah. I mean, of course, you might find a very sophisticated hacker who can hack the system and uncover it, but that's not likely.
Okay.
So I won't say nobody, but
very hard.
It's very hard. It's highly unlikely. That
less likely than when it would drop it in the box.
Yeah, absolutely. And even then, that was just a concern. Maybe there were issues in the past, but certainly as government practice improved, that became less of a concern, even though people actually still had it as foremost.
Mm-hmm.
So security is one of the major things. And then accessibility. You can stay wherever you are in the world and manipulate that system once you have an internet connection. So you can be on vacation in Dubai, you see an opportunity because if you start earning government contracts, you can make some good profits, so you can afford to go
so
to
in
Dubai.
Dubai.
Absolutely, yeah. And by the way, you got their first class on
First
Emirates.
class
Yeah, man.
on Emirates.
That's right. So you could be in Dubai, you see an opportunity, and you say, "Hold on, this is something my company can do," and you compose your bid and submit it in Dubai. It gets opened in Jamaica and evaluated in the same way.
But how? So you submit the bid, and I've used the system to submit bids, and it's very quirky. There are times when I try using it, and you wish you had the box that you could just go drop it in, because the whole process to submit the bid just seems so cumbersome. At times, is there something that you're looking at to really kind of, how do you, so if I, as a new supplier, want to understand that system some more, and just get some training and, some way to manipulate it, where do I go? Who do I talk to?
All right. 3 ways we can help you. Way number 1, we run a walk-in shop at the Office of Public Procurement Policy at the Ministry of Finance. I have a team of soldiers whose whole job is to make sure that suppliers are comfortable. So if you're having difficulties, you can call or you can come to the ministry and we can handhold you to submit a bid and teach you how to do it. The second thing is we have lots of supplier manuals, including multimedia support on the same website I mentioned, procureja.gov, that teaches you how to upload bids and so on. And we also have written instructions. And then the third thing is that we have regular supplier training. We put out advertisements in the Saturday Gleaner and Tuesday Observer very frequently, and people sign up and we train them as to how to use the system and how to make sure they can navigate the system perfectly. The quirkiness that you mentioned is mostly associated with the encryption stage, because you have to download Java and use a Java tool in order to get there. But I won't say too much, but we're looking at a new release of the software, the same GoJep software, that doesn't use Java anymore, but still gives you the same level of security.
Yeah. That would be awesome.
So that's coming.
So that is good. So I am on GoJep, registered with the government. How do I know that there is this bid that is out?
Yeah, there are 2 ways, at least, maybe 3 ways. Way number 1 is every Tuesday and Saturday. Tuesday in the Observer, Saturday in the Gleaner, you will see notices of public procurement. So the procurement says, we are buying a 5-ton tractor. I don't know if they make 5-ton tractors. I just made that up. So we're buying a 5-ton tractor. So if you're in the business of supplying 5-ton tractors, you'll see that in the paper. It will tell you that the bidding documents are on GoJep. The bidding documents will have all the information about what the tractor should do, how it should look sometimes, what it should be made of, what it's going to be doing, and the date that you're going to submit it, and also, importantly, the contract terms. So that's one way in the papers. The second way is to go on GoJep and to navigate to the search bar at the top and click competitions, and then click search, and you'll see a list of competitions that are now out. You scroll through them and you identify one that looks like it's interesting to you.
So I am able to go on GoJep and see all the competition that the government have.
All the open
is this just from one ministry?
No, from the whole, nearly 200 of them.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, GoJep is pushing billions of dollars of contract value out every single year. Billions. So those are 2 ways. The third way is when you sign up, as you know, you are asked to select the areas that are interesting to you using the CPV codes. That's common procurement vocabulary. And that's essentially a taxonomy of procurement codes that help you to identify the subject matter of the contract. So, if you're looking at the procurement of motor vehicles, one of the CPV will be motor vehicles at the top end, and then it might specify on a subcode, you might specify motor car, and then on another subcode it might specify motor car with manual transmission, that kind of thing.
So it's like a list of different categories then, and then subcategories come down, and then subcategories in some
Exactly.
places.
And so
So
when you
I would
set
need
up,
to select all of
you
those.
select those. And once a procuring entity sets up an opportunity, it also has to select a CPV code.
Oh.
So once it selects that CPV, you get an email to your email that you use to set up that says this competition is now out.
So is it that, so in GoJep, how many persons from my company can be on it? Is it just like a one person that would be on it and then that email will go to that one person?
Yeah, I believe that each entity can have multiple users. I need to double check exactly how many. You have to call the soldiers there. I don't know for sure how many. But I know that what people tend to do is they register with a company, like a sort of common email that maybe goes to multiple different
Multiple
persons.
persons.
Yeah.
Okay. What's a number that our viewers can reach your office on to get to one of your soldiers?
Yeah. Well, the best number is to call through the switchboard, the Ministry of Finance, which is 876-922-8600. Also, right now, since there are some issues at the ministry, we are working from home. And one of the best numbers there for to get is 876-806-4581.
Okay.
Somebody will answer. We also have an email address, OPPP, that's O and 3 Ps, customer care, OPPP customer care at mof.gov.jm.
Okay.
And that is our clearinghouse. All the mail that comes there is filtered in our fancy email system. I was telling you about that earlier this week. Yeah, it assigns, priority, it assigns it to people, and it tracks when it's answered.
Wow.
So the ministry
So it
looks
won't
at
be
us,
missed.
and the ministry says, we don't allow you to miss emails. Somebody asks you a question, you better answer them.
That's awesome. So they are very accessible. Many ways that you can actually get through to the office. Andre, I just want to tell you, thanks for taking the time out to just have a discussion with our viewers. And it was a very good conversation. I'm sure that we have a few nuggets. But just before we close off, give me one thing that you want to share with the supply market that you think would be beneficial to them, and just to, a little nugget from your end.
Yeah. I'd reiterate, Dwayne, that the pie is about $3 billion.
US.
Yeah, US dollars every year.
US.
A good chunk of that is petroleum spend, but the rest of it is, spending on commonly used goods and works and services. The participation right now is pretty low. What it means is that only a handful of people are actually earning government contracts.
Out of the 3 billion United States dollars. Don't forget that. 3 billion. Not million, billion. And I think the minister the other day said that our budget is what? $1 trillion?
Yeah, over $1 trillion.
Over $1 trillion. Yeah? So, enough money there to make.
Yeah. The participation is pretty low. People are not getting into the government space. I don't want to track out the statistics now, but they're dismal. In other words, there's a huge space for you. If you're in construction, if you're in supply of goods and services, food to hospitals, catering, that's a huge one that the government is having a major issue with these days.
Wow.
Finding concessionaires and caterers to supply lunches to inmates and to staff at government entities, which might be one and the same.
Yeah. Not that the government is inmates.
So the point is, there is a lot of space for participation. The competition in the market is small. Get in, and start earning some of these government contracts.
And that is why we are here, right? We are trying to make persons know that there is $3 billion US that the government wants to give away to qualified people. And all you have to do is go on a little platform and participate. You know, like they say in lottery, if you don't have a ticket, you don't have a chance.
Exactly.
If you don't have a bid, you don't have a chance. So you heard it here, probably for the first time, that the government is willing and they're going to spend $3 billion on government contract. How much of that will be yours? Andre, thank you for your time. And this was a very good conversation. We look forward to all the policies that you're going to be putting out from your office. So thank you again.
Yeah, my pleasure, Dwayne. Thanks.
All right.